Welcome to NoTownNerds, episode 19. I'm Nick.
I'm Matt.
I'm Eric.
I'm Richard.
And this episode is about Suicide Squad.
Woo! We're all very excited about Suicide Squad, apparently.
I'm excited to talk about Suicide Squad because there is much to talk about this movie.
Eric, you're going to be our only pro Suicide Squad person?
I wouldn't say I'm pro. I'm just pro comedy. I'm
pro good movies.
Yeah, but there is a lot to talk about this movie. Even if you hate it or if you liked it, three of you out there, someone paid a lot of money to watch it. So it made a lot of money this weekend. But
140 something.
Yeah, which is enough money, I feel like. But yeah, so Richard, do you want to talk about the intro, or Brady, talk about the plot?
Yeah. All right, I'll talk about the plot, which is harder to do than you suspect. But
what was this movie about?
Basically, I'll give a quick plot, summary real quick. Basically, Waller, a head of a government agency, wants to put together a task force, basically called the Suicide Squad, to take on the new Superman or be the new Superman, since Superman's dead at this point. The task force is comprised of the worst of the worst. Yeah. Oh yeah. Spoiler. The squad is comprised of the worst, including Deadshot, Killer Croc, Harley Quinn, Slipknot. Who else was there? Captain Boomerang, Slipknot, Captain Boomerang,
Sneezy, Dopey,
and El Diablo.
Yeah.
Also, Slag. What's his name?
Flag,
which is actually a comic book character, not just some crazy soldier they threw in there. They put together a task force, and also the Enchantress, which actually turns out not to be one of the team. She actually turns out to be the bad guy in this one. She goes to steal her heart. Can't steal her heart. It's hard to summarize this movie. Really hard to summarize. I really need to write this down. Yeah. Basically, she unleashes another ancient evil like herself. That evil takes over New York, and the Suicide Squad is to call in to not actually deal with that ancient evil, but to extract a person. The Suicide's brought together. They are taken into this city where they extract the person, which turns out to be a Waller herself. Once again, not supposed to deal with the world-ending threat, but to evacuate after. They are unable to, since Waller is shot down, and they must come together as a team to finally defeat the ancient evil, and they do so in a very not climactic fashion.
Yeah. The Joker's in it too.
And the Joker's in there too.
Was anybody really surprised that it was Waller?
No.
In that building?
No.
It kind of when it happens, it's oh yeah,
it's
I
supposed
guess.
to be like a big reveal, and it's built up that way.
But who else would it be?
Gandhi.
Yeah, what do they say? Yeah, it's like they're expecting Nelson Mandela to be in here or something like that.
I think they were really hoping it was another Metahuman or Justice League member that would be in there, basically. But no, of course, Waller.
So if you need to break down this movie, there is so much going on that it makes almost no sense. You gave a pretty good explanation of the movie, but even then, you're kind of skimming how this stuff does not flow at all whatsoever, and I'm trying to make a movie and a non-cohesive plot. It's hard. It's almost hard to talk about the movie because there's so much going on and so much to comment on, and different plot points and other stuff and character stuff. But let's try to give it a go.
I'd said if you ever edited a video and you do your first pass and then you go a couple more times and you're maybe I'll add spruce up this part, or maybe I'll make it a little quicker edits or something, and it's you add in some star wipes and some better music or something somewhere, but you keep making changes kind of here or there, and suddenly you realize, oh no, wait, I used this shot twice. Now I got to go back and I got to re-edit this over here, and now this is at one speed, but this over here is at another speed. This movie just felt like they were
character again.
Yeah, they were doing so many cannibalistic re-edits on it that it was just meddled with at this point. They should have just started over, started fresh.
I can't tell there's been massive reshoots to this movie. I don't know if you guys could, but I personally couldn't tell. I'm kidding. There's been terrible. It's really really hard to put together.
But it's even the speed. You go look at what James Gunn did with Guardians. That the rock and roll music soundtrack to it. That just that pacing was so intermittent. It was only in that intro, and then it kind of went away. But I don't know. It was just enough to be frustrating, not really like to get me into the movie. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Generally, it does feel like they took a normal DC movie, then someone saw Guardians, and they said, let's make this more like Guardians.
And Deadpool.
And Deadpool.
Yeah.
It seems completely reactionary to like everything Marvel has done, and I think you brought that up in the last podcast.
Yeah, it's...
They're taking the wrong things from Marvel.
and trying to make it work. Because it seems like the movie's like, in the DC universe, trying to be kind of grim dark, but then now that they're trying to add a little bit of levity. So like you have these scenes of like, intense, like kind of like trying to be emotional scenes, but then they're undercut by a quippy joke by one of the characters. So it kind of takes away, which is fine, but it seems like it's kind of taking away from the fact that like they're trying to make these like characters that I care about and situations that I care about, big swirly death cloud that I should care about, but it gets undercut by all the characters trying to be kind of funny and quippy, and it kind of takes you out of it. I feel like one of the many things that takes you out of the movie.
Let's say, speaking of the characters, like how close to the comic book did these guys stick to?
Actually, depending on the character, it varies. Let's start with like the big bag in this one, which is the Enchantress. Basically, the Enchantress, think Shazam, like anyone knows who Shazam is. But basically, think a woman who fell into a basement, and an entity there, which was actually a big red head, decided to give her the powers of the Enchantress, which is actually what in the movie says, say the name, and then you can transform. It was actually a very standard looking wizard was the costume. Green hat, green wizard outfit, the pointy little hat and everything. So
is she an interdimensional being in the comic book?
Technically, yes.
Yeah, so that's what they played this up to be, is interdimensional beings, but didn't really explain any more than that.
Yeah, and it's kind of like what it is, and also she was a good guy for a good portion of it. She was a good guy, but there was a situation where she could become all powerful, and she took it, and then since then she'd been that bad guy that was on the Suicide Squad later on.
We never even saw the good part. Like right away, Waller's like sticking her with the needle, she's got her heart in a box, and that's how she controls her, and she's like right away. We just go into the torture mode. It wasn't even like this threat or any kind of build up to it. It was automatically like, well, this is going to end poorly. Like you just knew right away. There was no foreshadowing. It was super just obvious as to the left turn this movie was going to take.
So if there was no Amanda Waller, Enchantress would be just a superhero?
No, I don't think she would do any of their bidding. I think she would just be this being doing her own thing, trying to because the second that she gets free, or she finds her brother.
But she said they used to worship us like gods.
Exactly, yeah. So I think she's immediately going back to her throne, especially with the way Waller had been treating her.
I think they always set her up as the bad guy in this one versus the comic book.
Yeah.
Also, you got Deadshot, who's supposedly a trash talker. He's gotten popular in recent. You guys probably seen him in Arrow. A lot of incarnations for him. He's been on the Suicide Squad quite a bit, and then what we're following is the 2011 version of Suicide Squad, and he's pretty much been a member of that as well. So he's always been there. Killer Croc. What do you guys think about this version of Killer Croc? Killer Croc's is all over the place.
Yeah, I feel like he should have been like more monsters. I know they're kind of like trying to base it in reality, but if you have characters like the Enchantress, it's like, come on, man, just go for it. Make him like a big CGI monster that's like...
Make him the thing, make him the Hulk of
well, not even CG, but I mean, like, do something, make him not look like a guy in like extreme makeup.
And strange nipples.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But like how big his head was, that like his body wasn't big enough, wasn't muscular enough for like, he looked super badass when he was wearing clothes, and then that scene where he pulls off the jacket and goes to climb in the water on his hands and legs, like laughing at it. It looks so silly.
And no one else in the theater laughed.
Yeah, he's supposed to be this menacing moment, and it's silly. Yeah.
I couldn't understand half his lines.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's an actual.
Well,
I don't know if they're taking actual audio from him in costume, or they decided not to do any post on this. But he was really hard to understand most of the time, and he was only saying 2 words or 3 words at a time, and even those you had to really think about. Then
they carry that much gravitas. We got to think about every single word.
Yeah, and Captain Boomerang. Well, Captain Boomerang is Captain Boomerang.
Yeah.
Also, you got El Diablo, actually, which is a kind of his family was. He actually didn't kill his family. He actually killed someone else's family, but it still was a woman and children, and it still tore him up the same way, where he basically decided not to do it anymore, and basically be used for avenging, basically, for vengeance.
Which is like,
stuff
I mean, as far as the movie goes, it's pretty good, pretty similar in line with the whole comic book background. So,
yeah, and that Aztec form he does take at the end, he that is shown in the comics as well. That's the full body fire form, and Harley Quinn, of course, is Harley Quinn, and then the Joker's, I guess, the Joker.
he has a character named the Joker.
The character named the Joker.
Just
I feel like we should save the best for last when it comes to him, because that's
we'll come back to the
what
Joker.
about like
to it.
still like motivations of each character?
Oh, but
Yeah.
I mean, Harley Quinn though, that's pretty much. I feel pretty spot on for the comic.
Who's favorite character? Anyone have a favorite character, Nick?
Mine's Amanda Waller, the real villain,
Yeah.
Badass and
or Slipknot.
And Slipknot is literally a dude who used ropes.
Yep.
Yeah.
in the comic.
he could climb anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's the worst of the worst, apparently.
Yeah.
I was reading that apparently his character actually, they cut it off in the movie. He is a serial rapist
I guess that was like one of the backstories they kind of cut out.
because that's too grimdark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. I wouldn't be like, yeah, support that guy. It's like, nah.
Yeah.
I think they could have used that.
No, you can't.
It would have made you like sympathize more
if-
with him like dying early on.
Well,
of like,
it'd make you cheer more that he died early
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And I think
or not sympathize, but cheer. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that plays into too much of what they were trying to do with this. Like they took the group of the worst and they tried to make them all redeemable and all human, and that's probably why they cut that out. Like
Right.
to me, like this movie, like one of the big failings for it is that it should be a movie about the worst.
Yeah.
And you can just give them different motivations instead of like at the end. How all this came together, like it's so hollow. Like El Diablo says, I'm not gonna lose this family." Like, are they family? Do they really care about each other? Like, that's the lamest motivation ever. They're forcing tropes from other movies onto these bad guys that shouldn't be there. They should leave them as bad guys, and I feel like people would love them all the same. Like, you don't love Harley Quinn because of all the good things she's done in recent comic books or in cartoons and stuff like that. You love her because she's crazy. So I don't know why they're trying to make everyone so redeemable and
That's
so.
that's why I think they could have used Slipknot. Well, besides he sucks, but he's just a terrible character and he has terrible motivations. So if there's any sort of character arc for him, it could have made for a more compelling movie. Air quotes. This is audio only.
Was anyone excited going in? Did anyone have high expectations?
Oh no,
No.
I had I kind of went in with like pretty low expectations, but I also went in with the mentality that like there's no way it could be as bad as critics are making it out to be. Like I want to go in there with like kind of a positive, see how it goes, and then I pretty much got what I wanted. Like I went in there and just like I walked out, I didn't hate it, and I don't think it deserves a 32-35% whatever it has on Rotten Tomatoes, but I mean it was okay. It's entertaining. There's some funny bits. Yeah.
It's 26%, by the way.
Okay.
26.
I'm sorry.
It says the audience score is 71% liked it, but the average rating is 4.7 out of 10.
And I think that has to do a lot with, like you guys said, the editing of chopping this thing up, putting it together. And I think the most confusing part, when the more you think about it, is the whole turn of Enchantress. Like how much time takes place between her going to Waller's room. That's her hotel, right? And then it made it look like she kept the idol in the bathroom.
Yeah, why would they?
Was the idol in the
brother
bathroom?
idol? Unless she just didn't know.
Yeah, or did she go into a different government facility?
She just happened
and
to
grabbed it.
transport into the right room,
And
it was
then-
like, hey, sister, over here.
And then did she automatically go to the train station, and why she went to the train station? And then when did those people show up at the train station? And when did this explosion happen? When did Waller move to the building next to the train station?
There's all a good reason for this.
Yeah.
Comics.
Well, it would be cool if they gave some type of slate that said 1 day later, 2 days
Right.
later, 3 days. Like you have no idea how much time
Meanwhile-
all this took at all, and that's something they desperately needed. Like the more you think about it, the more you're like, why did this happen? How did this happen? All this goes, and they're trying to build a universe, and like I'm already trying to fix the plot already, but they're trying to build a universe, and to me, they should make it like it's already existed, not like it's a new thing coming
Right.
up. Like I'm talking about poor motivations for all these characters.
Well, one positive thing about the movie that I liked a lot was the appearance of spoiler, the Flash.
Oh, that was something cool.
That was kind of fun.
cool.
Like I saw him, like, oh, that's cool. Like he's the guy that put like Captain Boomerang in.
What do you think of the introduction of lightning everywhere he goes? Since he is, lightning's that Speed Force thing and all
Yeah.
that. Like it's something I don't think I've ever seen in comic books
Yeah.
or in cartoons.
I mean, it kind of makes sense in a weird comic sort of way.
So I don't mind it at all. Actually, I don't mind it. Like at some point, I'm thinking like we run around electronics and there's lightning everywhere around you. Like
And I mean, as far as like the bigger universe goes, I mean that scene with Will Smith and his amazing wardrobe
Jacket.
choice with his daughter. When Batman shows up, it's like, yeah, this is kind of cool. Like seeing.
That does kind of feel like a reshoot to me.
I'm sure it was, but I mean, it's cool
We'll
to see
see.
Ben Affleck and Will Smith, two stars like talking together and like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool. This kind of seems like a Captain America and Iron Man moment.
Yeah.
And so that's neat.
no, it's cool that he caught two of them, and then Flash caught one, which is one of his arch villains.
Right, that he is actually like a Flash villain, so it's kind of cool
Yeah.
they did that. They put that in there, so that was kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good way of engrossing you. I just think they could have done a little bit more of making this place exist, prior. And I think if you're gonna plan all along of making the Enchantress the villain, and Waller's already this bad person. It seems like the Enchantress was the first person she picked up. I think it would have been better if all these bad things happening to these people were done because the Enchantress put them in a trance. Like, how much better would El Diablo's story be if he's the one, she manipulated him into burning the house down and killing all his family?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So instead of doing this lame, I'm not going to lose my family, he could be like, oh, you're that chick that did this to me. And then all these bad guys can still be bad guys, but they're, you know what, we're going to be vengeance.
a reason to, yeah.
We have vengeance at the end
Real
of it.
motivation in the movie.
Yeah.
Besides the bomb in your neck, but whatever.
But they're not even really on the same level, right? Like when you go and look at them, it'd be like you'd have like Hawkeye, Black Widow, and Thor. On a team. It was like clearly Thor is going to be the one leading him at that point. That when you go and throw Harley Quinn in there, she's just crazy.
She's a Batman.
But how is she any better than one of those seals that are with them running around, right?
By the way, the sound that they kept playing whenever she hit things, that was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, it wasn't and I think it suffered from something that early comic book movies suffered from, where the best powers you did not see a lot of. Diablo didn't use anything till the very end. Killer Croc, occasionally you showed how strong he was. He throws someone across the street into a car, but other shots he's having trouble pulling someone off of him. Yeah. There's very inconsistency with his powers, and I think we're so used to a Superman versus Batman or Doomsday fight where you're seeing what they can do at least. Here you don't really see that, and extension of that violent all the fight scenes to me are really flat. Really flat.
Well, I mean, is Killer Croc kind of like Aquaman essentially at that point, that outside of the water he's no good?
You didn't think too much about this.
Well, like I said, they just show him throw someone across the street. He is strong and he's supposed to be strong, and so
See him fight Aquaman.
so it's one of those things where it's I feel like either it's budget restraints or they just don't know how to plan action now that you didn't see everyone use the full extent of their powers.
Yeah.
Because the worst fighting you could ever do is shooting, and that's what most of them did.
There was
shoot.
a lot of shooting in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gunplay.
It was Deadshot, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but I mean, lots of soldiers, and lots of also a complaint against the movie is that so there's that one scene with several scenes, but they end up fighting all the bad guys, right? In the middle, they go on the street, and all the guys come out there with the silly CG heads.
Yeah.
At that point in the movie, it's just you know what, let's do it. I'm on board.
Oh yeah, that was part of
Like-
the thing later. I think that was the most successful thing, as filmmaking goes, because there was a proper build-up.
Mm-hmm.
They established that they're going to all betray Flag and all of the soldiers, and they're all going to rally against them. And they just slowly built up the menace that is in the Enchantress's army, the unwillingness or the fear of the actual soldiers, because they're up against something.
Right.
Amanda Weller said, "Just get out of the run, do not engage," and just I think Will Smith's actual charisma on screen helped us out, and his complete switch in motivations to actually fight was to me the actual only good part of filmmaking in the film.
Right.
Did Will Smith do a good job in this movie?
I think so.
He did a serviceable job in the movie theater.
What about Harley Quinn? What do you think of Harley Quinn? I think her accent might have made her sound worse of an actor than she was.
When they were there and then came back, they came.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's an Australian actress trying to fake this like New York something, yeah, whatever it is. But even then, like looking through the trivia on IMDb, like they're saying that they went back and reshot scenes with her in the Joker. To make it more like a loving relationship rather than an abusive relationship, which is
what's supposed to be an abuse. Though.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like it's the complete opposite of what they should have done. That it's like, yeah, no one was expecting the Joker to be a nice guy, right? So why does he have to, like, do you understand? Like it's bad to push women out of helicopters, but right? Like, maybe the Joker is trying to save himself, and so he's gonna, push her out of the way or whatever so he can live. But when they go and change it to, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'd rather go see the '90s cartoon version of. Right, the Mark Hamill Joker from back in the day.
I mean, and then again, that's going to be. We'll talk about that later on about the Joker and stuff. But I can actually feel like I think if there was just a movie dedicated to Harley Quinn, the character herself, I'd be on board. I'd go check it out. Yeah. It just kind of feels like they're trying to put in a movie with a bunch of like, I don't want to say D-list characters, but like maybe C-list characters. That's kind of like. No one's going to see the movie for Slipknot, honestly. They're going to see Will Smith. They're going to go see the Joker. They're going to go see Harley Quinn. Yeah. I mean, I get it, understand like why they're doing it first to introduce you here, and then maybe later on down the road give her own independent or individual movie.
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you this: why did Guardians work? Like, why did Guardians work? No one knew the story really. Like the general population didn't know the story, didn't know, who those characters were at all. But it fucking worked. It was a great, fun movie.
Good writing, good characters, good motivation, solid filmmaking.
The characters are charming, and it's kind of fun. It's actually really fun. Like that's like the most. I mean, besides Ant-Man, I think that's the one that I laughed the most at, and not unintentionally. Like I laughed because it was funny. Yeah.
So, but that didn't work at all for this. So you clearly see that they tried to do that. They took all these maybe characters that nobody really knew that well and tried to bring them together, and they tried to add in the music, and they really are just almost trying to like rip off what Marvel's doing.
Well, Guardians was misfits who are played as misfits. Suicide Squad are serial killers played as misfits, which doesn't come across whatsoever because they're not misfits, they're serial killers.
I think at one point Will Smith says that he's like evil, right? Which is
they're bad guys.
Yeah, he says when I put on the mask, people die, and then she's like, "What's wrong with that?" And it's like, "I like it." Yeah, and I mean, it's clearly these are all bad people, but I mean, were we supposed to root for them?
Yeah,
like were we supposed to?
Trying to remind viewers these are bad people, but nothing they do or say like really actually indicates that they're bad.
And I think they're scared of that. I don't know why. Like I feel like these people didn't get, like I said, Harley Quinn did not get loved, and the Joker did not get loved because they were redeemable. So I have no idea why they're so terrified of this backlash if they don't make them redeemable. I feel like if they would have went full force with bad guys, this would have been so much better movie. Instead of making like your editing fight the movie and having your characters fight the movie. So everything seems forced just because of those facts of trying to make these guys something they're not.
So I mean, we clearly have varying views on the movie, but I think the general thought is that this wasn't a good take on it. Right?
No, not at all. Not at all. If you want to see a good,
should we give like ratings about this? What do you think?
Maybe at the end.
I want to introduce a cool rating system that I use. I mean, you guys can do it. You can do it or not.
Garbage can, rooster, pineapple.
Well, actually, I go by what you would tell people to see it as. My top is go see it now. Go ahead and pay the matinee price, the highest prices you want. Or number 4, go wait till it goes to that $3 theater or that $1 theater you have here. And then 3, Redbox.
Yeah.
Actually, go to Redbox, and then the last one's gonna be wait till it comes on FX, like everything else does. So it's that's my scale. There's 4 scales to it, and I feel like that's a good way to show people what you're gonna do.
Speaking of which, like if I was hanging out like on Sunday afternoon and this came out on FX and I had nothing going on, I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna watch this.
Yes.
And I'm gonna watch it in the same like regard that I have for Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider because I kind of feel they're the same
There
way.
needs to be a zero.
Which is again a negative because it's like
There's a zero won't watch it.
I really love Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider. It's a bad movie. I know that. It's fine. And I kind of feel like this is similar to that. The way that I enjoy it is that like I know it's not a good movie, but I still kind of enjoyed it. I walked out of it, I laughed, I whatever, ate popcorn, had a good time. But the comparison is that Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider is like the infancy of like Marvel movies, right? It's like right after like Blade, the Blade trilogy, maybe even if the first two. They haven't really even established themselves as like a major movie making blockbuster
Was that
thing.
part of the Marvel Studios?
Well, I mean, it's Marvel Studios, but it's I'm not sure who.
It wasn't an actual.
It wasn't
Marvel
actual like
movie.
Disney
Right.
Marvel. Yeah,
I know they just like bought the license.
But at the same time, too, if I'm comparing that to Suicide Squad, which is like the third,
his first day.
which is like the third movie in this like shared universe, that's not a really good sign.
So what was the third movie for Marvel? We're talking Captain America, right?
No, actually, if you want to think
Would be
about
the
it, it's
Hulk.
Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, and then it came Captain America. Actually, yeah, third movie in Captain America really established yourself. They were good out the gate with Iron Man, so they really established themselves. But this is that let's play catch up and not establish anything and just running with it and then second guess everything around there. And I think the director came out saying that no, this wasn't the case. This is my vision.
Yeah.
We didn't make changes, but everyone knows that's all they do. And
I mean, there was massive reshoots. We heard that, and they said, "Oh, it was not because of the backlash from
they wanted more action.
Batman vs Superman or more comedy from Deadpool because Deadpool became a huge smash." Like, oh no, these are just reshoots. These happen all the time.
It does.
Which is it's true, but I kind of feel like
It also happens when the movie's crap.
watching this is also like a negative thing.
Yeah.
There is one thing that came out of this that I liked, and I hope continues throughout DC and Marvel. Captain Boomerang's one of his traits was he has a thing for pink unicorns.
Yeah.
And that to me is not in the comic books. That's totally to me is something just because Deadpool did it. And I would like to see Marvel and DC stealing each other's stuff or throwing little quirks of that all throughout the movie run from here on out, just like they do in the comic books.
Right. So the next Marvel movie, there'll be a villain that doesn't use boomerangs, but he likes boomerangs a lot. No, so one thing about the whole editing and like the whole reshoot things is that like, is it just me or when I watched the dozens of trailers before the movie came out, are there scenes that aren't in this movie?
Yeah.
There's quite a few.
There's a lot, right?
Joker
There's
especially.
actually someone like suing, I think WB, because it didn't include some of these scenes from the trailers.
And then so it's hard for me to buy that the director's like, oh no, this is the absolute version. There's not going to be a director's cut, not going to be like an R-rated cut or whatever. If I'm watching the trailer and there's scenes that aren't in the movie, that to me that seems that there's already something wrong.
They've already said that there's 10 minutes of Jared Leto as the Joker on the floor.
Oh man, that's 10 minutes too much.
So there goes that shows how much stuff they have. That
So
that's what he
the only
used.
thing I could think of, like off the top of my head, of like a scene that I didn't see was where she was playing bartender and actually
Yeah, where they're at a
making
bar.
the
Yes.
drinks. But I mean, we still saw a scene at the bar,
bar scene.
but not just that specific.
Which seems like one of the which would seem like a pretty fun
yeah.
Well, watch it made me think of like, oh, this is like a cool scene like in a Marvel movie. We're all hanging out, having a good time,
Yeah.
like enjoying each other's company.
I think the scene worked.
Yeah.
So, but were there any other scenes that you remember from the trailers that weren't in the movie? Anything in particular?
Just the Joker stuff. And I think there was a couple other things I don't really stick out in my head, basically. But I feel like one-liners were said over scenes that weren't supposed to be there. But that's how they kind of do tracks and trailers anyway.
Editing,
But
yeah.
I think that if anything, the trailers were deceiving when it comes to like how much action is in this movie
Yeah.
and how fun this movie's supposed to be.
Subpar action.
I feel like they made it seem like it's a nonstop ride, which kind of got me excited for it. If this is going to be a dumb movie, at least the action's going to be there. Something like Superman and Man of Steel, at least the action to me was impressive versus the storyline. So I was hoping for it, but once again, that action to me was just so flat throughout the whole thing. It reminded me so much of Daredevil, Elektra, Fantastic Four, any of those movies, that there's no pop to any of these scenes and no pop to how these characters use their powers.
Right. Kind of just going through the motions type of thing.
Is there any character that worked for you guys, you think? That was really the thing? Any plot point, I guess you'd say, that really worked for you?
No. I mean, there were parts where so Boomerang at the very beginning, right there is the first mission they go on. Boomerang talks to Slipknot about, hey, these bombs, they're placebos. You know, this is it's all
games.
mind games. That like this is not real. It's all in your head. It's to keep us here. But you know, they like it seemed like they were setting it up for either these guys to take off on their own to just get out of there, or it was almost Boomerang like manipulating him. But I feel like they didn't sell it either way. They didn't sell it to be like it's Boomerang trying to get him to go test to see if the fence is really electrified, and it was just like I don't know, they set it up but never knocked it down. And there's a couple times like that I felt like they were almost going to make it and then they went somewhere else.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, all the characters, except for like one big learning one, they're okay. I mean, I didn't have any sort of like expectation as to like when I went in there. So when they introduced these characters, I'm like, okay, this guy, he's kind of funny. There's this chick, she's like silent and deadly. That guy's a crocodile. It all like it kind of again, like I just go back to the fact that like I left the movie, and I wasn't mad. Like I didn't have like super high expectations because like when I saw Batman vs Superman, I had high expectations because it's Batman versus Superman. You expect this movie. So, 10, 15 minutes into Batman Superman, I am already angry. Mm-hmm. I went about a good 30, 45 minutes in the movie from like, yeah. And then even then, like, I just gave up. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go along for the ride. Yeah. This is going to be entertaining. And I think with that mentality, it's like, yeah, I didn't hate it. So.
Was it entertaining for you guys?
Yeah. There were parts when I was actually entertained.
I think it got me through. It got me through.
Yeah.
It got me through. Yeah, it pushed me through. It was there. It was flashy.
It's just that there's so much going on that like the whole time you're just like, wait, why? So like, if you go in that one, like it's like there's so many questions to be asked the whole movie that you're just like, it's so like schizophrenic that you're just like you just try to go in and try to like if you're entertained. I am entertained by that. The fact that like it is just this like big bombastic like combination of things that don't make any sense. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to put the pieces together in my head and watch and be like, well, then why? Okay, sure. But then, at least for me, that's entertaining. So I got that out of it.
It was a giant music video. I think it's the best way to describe it. A giant music video, and that's why it was very hodgepodge and very inconsistent.
It's just like the musical beats for these classic, iconic songs that everyone knows, trying to make you feel an emotion for these scenes that these scenes aren't necessarily giving you at all.
We're cheating.
Yeah, so they're kind of cheating at that point where it's like these. Yeah, so you know exactly what it's like. Yeah. They play. It's like they're so on the nose. They're so just like, okay, I get it, whatever. I mean, there's a lack of subtlety that I haven't seen in a long time in a movie.
Okay with the lack of subtlety. It's just again, there's no through line to actually give any gravitas to any of the things that they do.
Well, let's talk about the Joker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Truth bombs.
The lack of the Joker.
Well, I mean, this wasn't a Joker movie, right? I mean, he was really.
Well, I meant actually Leto playing like he's not playing the Joker. He's playing probably a sex fiend in makeup.
Yeah, sex fiend rap star.
There's
crime lord. Thank you very much.
Crime lord.
A tattooed crime lord.
So okay,
he's deranged.
You can't tell.
Well, so are you guys familiar with Diane Ward?
Painfully so, yes.
Yeah. Are you?
No.
Richard? Okay. Diane Ward's the South African band.
You're so lucky.
Yeah, you're so lucky. No, it's they're kind of crazy. It's a guy and a girl who are in like this rap band, but like you can't tell if it's fake, if it's comedy, if they're really crazy, if this is just all their online persona, whatever. But they basically think that like the Joker. His whole persona, the way he looks, acts, talks, is all just stolen from the guy from Diane Ward. Yeah, they're like his look and everything of like, they do look similar, but like gangly white guys with tattoos and bad teeth like isn't anything new.
When I saw him, I didn't think Diane Ward. I thought Juggalos.
Yeah,
that's where my mind first went. I first thought ICP. I didn't think Dan would. But then I saw this article, and you were the first one thought of Matt. I was like, oh, Matt probably finds it interesting.
I've only seen them in concert twice.
That's a podcast for another day.
I'm only the president of the fan club. It's not that big of a deal.
The president chapter.
Yeah. No, but it's I don't see it. I didn't see it at all. Like it's what's funny for how big this is getting now, like the traction I'm seeing these stories, there's a scene where Harley Quinn smashes a window and steals a purse. The sketches that are on the backdrop behind the purse, I thought that looked actually very similar to a couple of Diane Ward's music videos. That there was an artist that they had used, and that was instantly the reference that I thought. But I haven't seen anybody else even come close to saying the same thing. But
Rod and Lemon say they probably did use it as a reference.
Yeah. So I don't know,
And ICP.
yeah.
The look to me wasn't really the problem with the Joker. I don't mind it. I actually liked the smiling face on the hand. I think that was a really cool gimmick. My main problem was this: he did not act like the Joker. He would laugh here and there, but there was nothing funny. He didn't say anything funny. Even, like
He's laughing at the whole situation.
Yeah, any Joker variation, like there was a whimsy to them. They were a gesture that was performing. He, like I said, all he is a dude looking like the Joker, and that's it. To me, there's nothing about him.
There was no sort of, the whole there's not because he is a jester, he's a clown, but the dichotomy is that he's this clown, but he's also menacing. I didn't get menacing from Jared Leto. No. I know they tried to force it, he's laying down, there's a bunch of knives everywhere, and he's all this stuff.
Why were there baby clothes in that?
Who knows? Comics.
Number one, two, if you guys, to me, to determine if it's a good Joker, could this Joker take on Batman?
No.
I don't see this guy becoming a master plot anything when it comes to Batman, other than shooting him with a gun like any other gangster.
Maybe inviting him to the strip club and then roofing him or something. But other than that, I don't know. Yeah.
This cannot be a Batman villain. And since there is a new Batman movie coming up, I hope he's not in it, because this Joker can't do anything.
Well, they've already alluded that he killed Robin or something.
And I wonder how he did that. To me, there's nothing that shows that he can do anything to him.
Yeah, I mean, the one scheming thing that he really did, where you actually got to see part of it, is where the head guard gets into trouble in a gambling debt, and they go and buy the debt. But they don't explain, how the Joker has money, or, the torture scene of that guy. That would have been something we needed to see, where he's actually getting pressured into helping her break out and things
That's
like
what
that.
I'm saying,
And then how is she strapped into this wheelchair, and they're able to just put a cell phone in her hand, and nobody notices?
He doesn't just not notice. He yells out, "Mr. J." Everyone escorting her knows who that is. Yeah. He's not subtly whispering it. He yells it out.
Didn't someone say who's that?
No one said that.
From Mr. J. Yeah.
He said, "This is from Mr. J." Everyone just ignored it.
But they got on an airplane. They flew from that prison to the other airport where they were evacuating people. That clearly there was enough transport. They would have checked something. They would have checked a restraint. Yeah. Any number of things that they would have.
Where was she hiding it throughout the movie?
Her arm is strapped to the chair. All she could do is drop it. That was the only place it could go. It was either in her hand or not in her hand. It just, I don't want to start pulling threads on this movie here, but
even what version Android was that?
Even in her full costume, there was no place to hide that phone that would magically appear anywhere. So it was one of those things where just conveniently it popped in someone's hand constantly. Conveniently they handed it. That was the worst secret handoff I've ever seen. 20 people around you, there's nothing sly about it. He literally jogs up to her and goes, "Here, this is from Joker." And everyone's cool with it.
No one bats an eye.
Yeah. No one bats an eye. Everyone's cool with it.
Yeah, I don't get the guys his laugh and everything else about the Joker. It's he tried to reinvent it, but almost make it a parody of the Joker or something. I don't know. It just. Maybe we're just spoiled with everything else. I mean,
the last one we got was Heath Ledger, which arguably people like a lot. I mean, I like him too. Yeah. But again, he plays this thing where he's because we shouldn't compare the two, but I feel like you kind of should, because they're both playing the same character.
I think we have to.
Well, because when you played him, he was the complete anarchist. Nothing he it
some
made
people
sense
just
to
want to watch the world.
Right, exactly. He was the complete Batman.
Well, I think that's why he was so good, is because he said that, but I think he was masterminding.
But the same way, but also you can't tell if he's actually crazy or if he's actually making stuff up. He plays along. It's all a big game. Yeah. You can never tell. He was legitimately terrifying. He was scary looking, face scars, the whole nine. This guy, he's a joke. Like that laugh is terrible, and like I don't see him.
worked on, though.
I don't see him being a mastermind and being like the anti. What's his name? Batman. Or,
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the
The anti-hero, yeah. But
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
but like you go,
killed Common.
but when you go and look at like this portrayal here, I mean, can you imagine? Like, he didn't break character when he was on set. Jared Leto stayed as this character, the Joker, and like it would be creepy and like awkward for this like weird dude to be walking around, but I wasn't going to be afraid that he might set the building on fire at any point. I think they might touch me awkwardly if I got too close to
And you're
him.
more scared you might like it. which is
Yeah,
kinda
yeah.
weird.
The amount of time and effort he put into this makes me criticize it even more. Like, 'cause that's
Exactly.
all you
If
got.
that's the story that you have, is that like
The publicity stunts.
all the that he like
Used
terrorized the
condoms.
crew and stuff, all the nonsense, and like this is the best that came out of that. It's not. It's,
Yeah, but you go look at like Lex Luthor from Batman Superman. That like, what's their motivation?
you can't hear how hard our eyes are rolling right now. They said that.
But you go and compare them though. Like these, I don't know why these people are villains. Like, what
Right.
are they trying to do?
Yeah.
Like, there's no clear goal as to is the Joker trying to get rich? Is he trying to kill the Bat? Is he trying to take over Gotham? And they weren't even in Gotham. They're in what was what's
Midway?
the was it Midway City or whatever?
Midway
yeah.
City.
Yeah, so they're not even in like Gotham at that point for this. So I mean, it's like, the same thing as Lex Luthor. And I guess in the Ultimate Edition, have you watched it yet?
I saw half of it.
I don't know. It's supposed to include a little more dialogue, so you kind of understand why Lex does what he does. But like watching that movie in the theater, I don't know why.
Yeah.
He was the villain. Like why
He
was
hates Superman so much. Why?
yeah, why he wanted to set up Batman and Superman to kill each other.
Why he wants to make Doomsday.
Yeah, like I don't understand. And so so right here, like the only villain I understand is Enchantress, who's just trying to get
And Waller.
Just gyrating
Yeah.
through the movie.
exactly. Yeah, she's up there doing the Macarena.
Why was she moving the entire time?
Because she's possessed. This is what possessed people do.
She's doing this weird.
You've seen The Exorcist?
They turn into Shakira.
Yeah, seriously. Like
That wasn't Twitch. Like I would think it'd be. I'm thinking you're going for more Grudge,
Right.
not Shakira.
Yeah.
Literally, as she's doing these movements. Yes.
She's just so sexy, she can't help it. That's where you just go to. So that's her superpower.
And talking about the Enchantress in the end, to me, that's the worst use of slow mo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the worst, like, there was no tension whatsoever in the slow mo moment.
Yeah.
The guy literally walks up and says, "Hey, throw this." He's gonna throw this.
It's
He's like,
insanely obvious as to which scene Zack Snyder directed.
It's
He did direct the Flash scene. I read that when the Flash showed up.
That brief 30 seconds for each.
Oh, I thought he did the final battle. No,
He might have done that
it,
too,
like
but I just know
it
one
reeked of
verified.
him. Yeah, with like this weird slow mo everything that it.
It felt like the what's his name, David Ayer,
Yeah.
that
was trying to pull a Snyder.
that whole last, was it 20 minutes of, like I said, these people making in the bar making some weird like assumptions about themselves. They go to fight this girl not for ending the world. They go fight him because Flag's girlfriend is in danger and they're gonna go help him get his girlfriend back. No one says let's save the fucking world until they actually get into the fight, and then I think the El Diablo says the world's gonna get destroyed.
And have they ever explained how the world's gonna get destroyed? I know there's a big swirly cloud.
Well, how did they know in that room that this machine is destroying satellites and
They
radar
didn't.
installations?
They didn't go
had
in there
no
for
idea.
that. They went in there just to get the girlfriend.
Yeah.
That was their whole motivation, was to go in there and get the
Harley
girlfriend.
Quinn says there's nothing better to do.
Yes,
Yeah.
nothing better to do. And like I said, that's where I feel like
The tagline for this movie.
I think that's the proper summation.
Hey, you wanna go see this movie? Well, there's nothing better.
Nothing better to do. Yeah.
Nothing better to do.
I hear there's a Pokestop in front of the theater.
If you drink first, that might help. Let's get a drink first.
Yeah.
No reasons for them to stick around. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, if you want to make the Enchantress the villain, make her manipulate everyone, give them actual motivation other than they're saying it. They literally, that's all they do. You don't
Yeah.
feel it. They literally just say,
It is.
we're going to do this.
And one word you describe the movie is it's kind of lazy.
Yes.
There's the character motivations are barely there. The main villain of the movie, barely there. I mean, that's just me just being critical.
Yeah.
But again, at the end of the day, like, it was okay. So.
Do you think this film was like a complete overreaction to previous DC's films?
I think it's just completely. They keep getting worse and worse.
I think
when
it's
it
a
comes to this.
reaction. I don't think it's an overreaction necessarily. Like I understand what you're saying. That I
Yeah.
think they're trying to course correct and like change course.
The
like,
first Batman with the new actor seemed like they were trying to correct the previous Batman where there was no action. And then it was too much, so then the second Batman, it's like dealing with all of his...
And the first Superman movie showed the destruction
Oh,
of
sorry,
cities,
Superman, yeah. Sorry.
and people were
The second,
dying.
yeah.
Sorry,
And now there's no one ever on streets. There's no one ever in
Yeah.
danger. Really,
And they make sure
Yeah.
to like comment on that, like, oh, the building's abandoned. Like they got everyone out of the building.
Yeah.
I feel like they
Looking
need
at
to.
the camera.
That's true. I guess that
Yeah.
they are doing that.
I wonder if they're gonna change their minds since Civil War actually finally, Marvel's admitted like, oh yeah, people are dying whenever we doing these things. Will they finally like let that slide and go in full force, or
Yeah, and I mean, yeah.
they seem
There's like so much to like. I'm trying to compare and contrast between like Superman, Batman versus this movie. I almost feel like this movie, as bad as it is, still more entertaining than Batman vs Superman. I feel like, and entertaining in the fact that like that Batman vs Superman is so depressing and so dark and so like angry. Superman is not a hero. He's just like this angry killer robot.
Yeah.
And that's not Superman. That's never been
Yeah.
Superman. And now like and even then like even Will Smith is kind of doing a better job as he self-proclaimed an evil character, doing a better job than Superman is, who was supposed to be the hero of like the DC universe. So, I don't know.
Yeah. They talk a little bit about Rotten Tomatoes and their controversy. So the tomato meter is 26%. Not doing so hot over there, but it says the audience score is 71%. So I mean, it maybe just super critics are super critical of it, or
of how many people voting.
Well, so okay,
Who's
so,
voting?
Reviews counted 265. He gives it that 26%, right? So for the audience score, there are 94,000 ratings.
I bet they're dummy accounts too.
They could
I
be.
wouldn't vote past DC fans.
It could be. But I mean, but
How
it was
many
getting
DC
such,
comic books are sold weekly? 96,000.
But I mean, it's it's just an aggregate site. It just pulls,
They have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. So there's a change.org petition to get Rotten Tomatoes shut down. So what do you think about that?
On the change.org website, is that petition in between like Hillary and Trump, like really important stuff?
I mean, it's I don't remember exactly where it came about. If this was like Obama or whatever, I feel like it had to get any petition that you put on there. It's got to get to a certain
X amount of
level
yeah.
before anybody will
So
take it serious.
what exactly are they asking? I just know they're protesting Rotten Tomatoes. What do they want to change?
They don't want to be mean anymore.
So this one that I see here, it says there's a disconnect between critics and audiences. You may enjoy a movie
There always
regardless
is.
what the
Yeah.
critics say about it. We must get the people to know the criticism, not the measure of the quality of the movies. It's just the opinions of the critics. Sign the petition.
But it just seems like, of all movies, why this one they start this? Look at the past, how many Transformers movies has there been? I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they're pretty uneven, unbalanced on critics' reviews as opposed to people that's seen them.
Yeah, and I mean, it's, does this show that, like, we have this higher standard now when it comes to superhero movies, that we're using all these good ones that Marvel did to skew any kind of rating, that we can't look at it as an individual movie, that we're saying...
You're saying that Marvel's changed the curve on Superman?
Perfect.
Yeah, then I think it's,
think so.
it's just they're constantly making it better.
I know, and that's the
You
thing
know-
is that, like, it should be. When I go to these movies, when I go see, like, Batman, Superman, Suicide Squad, I don't want them to be bad. I want them to be good.
Yeah.
Because I want there to be, like, in the comics, like in DC Marvel comics, like, they're back and forth. Like, depending on which week, what comes out that week, or what issues come out that week,
Yeah.
I'm going to pick up DC books. I'll pick up Marvel books. And it goes back and forth to that. And so I don't want Marvel to... it's great that Marvel's making good movies, and, like, they continue to make good movies, but I also want them to not just, like, trample over DC movies. I want DC movies to step up and be really, really good.
Yeah. Can I read this positive review on Rotten Tomatoes here? Oh, just turn my mic back on. So there's this positive review I want to read real quick. My son and I went to go see this movie on Sunday evening, and we were both pretty happy with how it turned out. Not really sure why there was so much hatred out there for DC Universe being brought to the big screen. However, people need to get the stick out of their hind end, because just as Marvel needed to build off of what they had, DC is having to do the same. I personally like Ben Affleck a lot as the older version of Batman when he's tired of dealing with a rat race, and the same thing goes for what I'm seeing for the characters in Suicide Squad. It's a movie that you just go to see and enjoy. You don't need to hyperanalyze every single thing that comes out of the theater.
I think they'll be shutting down this entire podcast.
This kind of goes with what I was thinking. Like, are all these people protesting? Are these people strictly DC fans or comic book fans in general? And based on that review, I feel like the majority of these people are strictly DC fans. Are probably hurt that their awesome franchise there isn't doing as well as Marvel, and there's always been that bitter rival between the two.
Yeah, and so this other review says, greatest movie in the world, the Citizen Kane of our time. No, not really, but Harley is really hot, and the Joker is quite fun. Definitely edgy. I just want more Harley and Joker, really.
Oh, that's my review. That sounds familiar.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that would be a movie I'd rather see, would be a Harley and Joker movie, like them going around
Harley.
Well,
terrorizing.
that's what I'm saying. Like, if they put him, she had her own movie. I'm aboard that.
Yeah, but I won't want Joker in it. I know he would be in it.
This Harley, not this Joker at all.
Yeah. So here, what about this real quick? So 6 notoriously bad superhero movies with higher Rotten Tomato scores than Suicide Squad. So number 1 on here is Batman Forever.
I feel like this movie's better than Batman Forever.
40% on here. What do you guys think about that? Do you remember this movie?
I feel
the Schumacher one?
Yes.
It's the one with Tommy Jones, Two-Face.
Yeah.
I feel like at that point when like I said, this is prior to Marvel, so anything there, I feel like they had a certain standard for these movies. This standard wasn't Oscar. It wasn't like exactly even blockbuster material. This standard is pretty low, and I feel like that movie probably was like, let's do it as for kids, which those movies are really aimed for was kids, and they reviewed it as such.
Yeah. Okay, so number 2 is Daredevil from 2003. 44%
That one's rough.
to 26%.
That one's rough.
Yeah. But
one's
how
rough.
but
I think it was
how
worse than Justice League.
what's that?
I think it was worse than Justice League.
But I'm saying like the
I'm boycotting Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but it shows you like how easy it is to skew these ratings here. So X-Men: The Last Stand, 58%. I mean, Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3, terrible Spider-Man 3, 63%.
Like I said, I feel like it's the critics themselves holding these movies to a different standard now versus then.
I'm sure they review these movies again. They'd probably all.
What was the most
Yeah,
successful comic book movie of that time?
Well, this is 07. Like this would have been Iron Man. Would have been right around
Was
that
it
same
Iron Man?
time. Yeah.
Was for which one?
By that time, though, it would have been Spider-Man 2?
when did the first Batman Begins come out?
05?
When did Spider-Man 1 come out?
04? Or
No
02.
way.
No.
02.
No.
I lied. So the first, the
Okay, so
first
I think
Tobey
it was
Maguire Spider-Man was like
Spider-Man
02.
I feel like that shouldn't be, but like I feel like it's just. I think when the Marvel coming out, there's a different standard. I think even before Batman, I feel like Batman wasn't. They didn't view it as this is what superhero movies are now. They're viewing it as this is what this is what this movie is.
Yeah. So these reviews are super subjective. So would you say that X-Men Origins Wolverine was pretty terrible?
Terrible.
I wouldn't say pretty terrible. I would say terrible.
Terrible.
Pretty.
38%.
Yeah. Suicide Squad's
higher rating than Suicide Squad. So I mean, it's just it's entirely
The curve has changed.
Yeah. You know, I mean, some of these were just so terrible when they came out. But I mean, is it terrible because they were done poorly, or is it terrible because we just expect better? We've seen what studios are capable of. But I mean, you look at these Transformer movies, right? Like the stories aren't that great, you know, but they're just making buckets and buckets of money.
Well, I mean, that's the disconnect, is that, like, these critics, you know, if they criticize movies, it's their job. And if they hate it, it doesn't matter. People are still going to go out and see it no matter what. Because, I mean, these things are being promoted like crazy. If it's a sequel, then you already have a built-in fan base. People are going to go see it no matter what anyway. So, I think it's almost unfair to like try to compare the two and be like, you know, I mean, it doesn't really matter.
As someone who's disagreed with Rotten Tomatoes a lot, and that's why I think they put the viewer. They put what people are saying, what critics are saying, so that you could make your own decision. There's quite a few movies that went out there. I know it was 30%, 40%, but you look at the audience, it's like, oh, that's 90.
Yeah.
Like, let's go see that movie. I know it's who it's going to be for. It's going to be for the people who really want to see that movie. I think World of Warcraft was something like that as well.
Yeah, which
I
liked it.
I think it could have been done a lot better, but there was a split like that when it comes to that. But you know who that movie was made for versus the general public, which is what critics are always going by.
So yeah, we're coming up on time here.
Yeah.
But did you have some? You want?
Real quick, we're absent one member, Denora, and she wanted to make her thoughts felt out here. And they seem to match a lot what we're echoing. The first one is the lack of introduction. Yes, it was pretty. Yes, it was kind of fun. But overall, the first 20 minutes was just exposition after exposition. Why should I bother to care about a film's characters if I can't even set them up properly? I'm just thrown into action, still asking, who are these people? Number two, she agreed with me, I guess, a lot. Was let's talk about the action. It was bad, poorly choreographed, and sloppy. Just a bunch of faceless baddies being punched and shot. Yep, at least with Snyder, you know the fight scenes are going to be stylistic and exciting. It says, 3, the dialogue. Almost everything is a one-liner, great for trailers, but whole world for a film. And I feel like a lot of people were fooled by trailers. And yeah, it's true. These one-liners do not work in this kind of situation. And then number 4 is Killer Croc. She says he gets her his own bullet point because he's one of the worst characters she's ever seen. Every line, every action was just clanky, unworthy, and really just horrible, is what she says. And I think the one thing I'll give you, Killer Croc, that was a great makeup. That was a great looking thing, but they should have done more with him completely. But it was a great looking character. So, are we going to use my rating system, or are we just going to say something?
I say go watch it. I think it's fun.
In theater?
I think it's fun enough. Yeah.
Which theater?
The cheap theater, or the good
DVX?
one?
Yeah, you don't need to go see it tomorrow, but I mean, if you want to wait, I think you're fine. But I say definitely see it at some point.
Yeah,
I think it's fun.
Yeah, go watch it. I mean, you'll be entertained. At least case, you'll be entertained. I had a good time watching it, and I don't regret paying like top dollar prices to go see it. So.
Yeah, no, I would say the same thing. I mean, I spent $22 and saw it twice. It's just a silly. It felt like one of the final silly summer blockbusters, as everyone goes back to school or whatever. It's just summer fun.
As someone who probably paid $22 to see this thing at Edwards,
Just once.
I want to say just once.
You can't-
too.
two
I went
tickets?
two tickets. I had to take the wife. I want to say that to me, with all the hype behind it, I say it's still only the $3 movie theater. You wait till the end. If it wasn't for the fact there was a lot of this hype, and wasn't for the fact that the trailers look so interesting, and I would say Redbox almost. I put this movie almost near that level of Daredevil, of Elektra, when it comes to the way it's supposed to pay off. It just looks better because the money's there. It's a very pricey movie, and so it looks better, but if you really get down to it, if you downgrade all those effects, you're left with like a Fantastic Four or Daredevil to me. So to me, I feel like this is a Redbox from the general public. If you're not the general public, you've already seen it. So,
And once it's out on Redbox, I'm definitely getting it.
oh yeah.
I'm buying the Blu-ray plus
$1
Ultra.
$50 or whatever.
It'll definitely be in the FX rotation for me
yeah,
for the rest of my life because that's how they do it.
So coming up next for DC, Wonder Woman, June of next year.
Excited.
Yeah, it looks really pretty good.
I hope they course correct again. I hope there's some.
Hey, wait. So can we talk about the final end scene of the
No.
movie? Oh man.
Yeah, go for it.
So the end scene is that Amanda Waller's meeting with Bruce Wayne, right? And like
Yes.
they're having like
Yeah.
a little meeting
Yes.
in the cafe or whatever there.
Bruce Wayne?
Yeah, it was in the mid-credit sequence.
Oh,
They
I
ended
left
there.
twice. I thought there was nothing.
God
Oh
damn it.
jeez.
I Googled it.
Yeah.
It wasn't worth it.
Well, no, to me it seems weird that he wouldn't ask about the Joker. To me, that seems kind of weird.
Yeah,
Like, if he's still alive, kind of just
in
reads
this
on that.
in this timeline, they just killed Robin. Like
Yeah.
you think he would ask.
He'd
about
be
how
still mad
everyone's
about
doing
that.
it. But you don't know where this thing takes place. Did Harley Erie break out? Did the Joker break out? Or is the Joker
That's true.
dead? Like you don't know when it comes to these timelines, and they really need to establish that. If they're gonna have this universe, They gotta get the ball rolling and establish where everything's gonna be
Get their
played
shit
at.
together. Get your shit together, DC.
Together.
I guess I'll watch it the third time then.
I'll go with you. We can drink first. Their books up there.
Rip it off the internet.
So what happened? Are you looking it up, man?
Yeah, I'm trying real quick here. It's so when I googled it, and the first result was breaking down that lame Suicide Squad post-credit scene.
So there you go.
Yeah, so I feel like you probably didn't miss anything. Let's see on here. It says before leaving, Bruce tells Waller to shut it down, adding, "My friends and I will do it for you." So I'm guessing he's talking about the Super Friends.
The Super Friends.
Yeah.
They wish. The Wonder Twins.
Was he in full Batman garb?
No,
or was it
he was
Wayne?
Bruce Wayne. Like he was in Bruce
So
Wayne.
then
gear.
Amanda Waller knows Bruce Wayne is.
Yeah, I guess you can surmise that.
My final question, I guess, before everything goes, will be a quick one. Are you still excited for Wonder Woman? Are you
Oh,
still
yeah,
excited
yeah.
for anything?
Yeah. I'm excited for nothing now.
Yeah, I'm
Everything
done.
is terrible.
I am completely done now.
Really?
I will see Wonder Woman. I'll still go, but nothing they will do will excite me from here on out. I
Even
still
Justice League?
I think especially Justice League because we already saw what they did with Ensemble Cash that where people aren't getting their movies. Cyborg's not getting a movie. Flash isn't getting a movie. Are they going to do the same rush introductions, the same lack of characterization? They haven't proved to me yet that they can make a good movie, and so that's why I'm done. I'm still going to see it the first weekend. I'm still going to go do all that, but as for expectations, they're not there anymore for DC.
The trailer for Wonder Woman, there's a scene where she's like sliding and it's slow motion and she has these metal boots on over a wood floor, but there's sparks shooting up. And just that little bit right there, like I can't get past it. I can't.
Because she's magical.
But it's metal and wood. Why would there be sparks? I
Is her
never.
lasso glowing?
Yeah.
Suspension disbelief, man.
Right? Like she's a god, like Zeus was her father
Yeah,
or whatever,
something.
but
She's made of mud or whatever.
Wooden and metal don't make sparks.
That's where you draw the line.
It's unrealistic. I can't
Killer
handle it.
Crocs, Enchantress, but metal and wood.
Yeah.
That's it, I'm done.
Flint. Her shoes are made of flint.
She's made of flint. Yeah.
All right, is there anything?
I think it's it.
All right, do we need to? All right,
Do.
yeah.
NoTownNerds would like to thank Jesus and Rotten Tomatoes for getting it
Yeah.
right.
Paid for by WB.
Yeah. So where can you see us? Does anybody remember?
YouTube, the internets.
NoTownNerds.com.
Yeah, NoTownNerds.com. Email us, NoTownNerds@gmail.com. We're on iTunes and Stitcher and YouTube and all that fun stuff.
Like and subscribe.
Yes, let's subscribe.
Yeah, don't Pokemon Drive.
Hey, if you take anything away from this today, is don't Pokemon Drive.